Unnatural Creatures by Neil Gaiman. This is a book that got given to me by Casey over at the Bitter Productions. This is a collection of short stories that have been compiled by Neil Gaiman, so isn't actually one of his books as such, but is some of the writing styles and the stories that he enjoys. So it'll be interesting to actually get a feel of what a writer is inspired by and the types of things that they like, and if that is actually what inspired them to write some of their books. Echo Boy by Matt Haig. This was given to me as a proof copy from Random House Publications. The premise of the book revolves around a human society that relies on androids to actually help them with their everyday lives, and these androids are called Echoes. The Echoes are basically designed to be emotionless and just to obey their masters. Audrey's parents, however, have accidentally been killed by the Echoes, and this is something that shouldn't normally happen. And on the other side of the story we have Daniel, who is an Echo, who is starting to feel emotions when he shouldn't be feeling them, and I thought this was an absolutely amazing premise, and it sounds as though it's going to be a thrilling book, and I am thoroughly looking forward to this one. Another one from Random House Publishing is Bird by Crystal Chan. This book has been compared to Wonder by R.J. Palacio in the ways of approaching hard-hitting real-life situations. It revolves around a brother and a sister. The brother had the nickname of Bird, which revolved around the fact that he was always jumping off things and just plain and simply acting like a bird, and that is what his grandpa always used to call him, and his grandpa even used to say to him that he would just go off flying someday, until one day he actually did, and he jumped off a cliff and killed himself. And the story basically revolves around the sister's journey after the death of her brother and how she copes and how it's actually affected her everyday life. This sounds as though it will be a hard-hitting book, and it definitely approaches some difficult issues, so I'm really intrigued to see how this one's going to pan out. Finally, the last book from Random House is Running Girl by Simon Mason. This is a YA mystery, and I am really intrigued at a YA mystery genre because of the fact that I honestly have never read anything like it before. I've read adult crime books like The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo or The Da Vinci Code and things like that, but I've never tried anything in the YA spectrum, which is quite interesting, as I'd like to see how different authors approach different topic matters. From Faber, I got Between the Devil and the Deep Blue Sea by April Genevieve Tugholk. Butchered that name. Let's move on. This is the most interesting sounding YA that I've heard of in a while. I am more into the gritty, dark, kind of twisted YA, and this sounds as though it's going to be right up my alley. It's basically about a girl who falls in love with a boy, but she's not quite sure whether he's the devil or not. It kind of runs along those kind of lines. As soon as I started talking about this, I knew that I would absolutely love this one, and I am super excited that we actually got a copy of it. I got given a beautiful hard copy from Quirk Books of Hollow City by Ransom Riggs. Now this is the second novel in Miss Peregrine's Peculiar Children series, which I am absolutely in love with at the moment. I read the first one, which was spectacular. I loved the mesh of photographs and storytelling. It just was a breath of fresh air to me, and it was something different and something that I personally hadn't seen before in books. So to actually love it at the same time was just an added bonus. And this story basically follows on from the first book, but they are on their way to London to go on further adventures. From what I've heard so far on BookTube, as I know a lot of people have this one, is that it is absolutely fantastic and probably just as good as the first one, so I need this to be read ASAP. I think I'm going to read this in February, so this last book I got in foils in London, which is The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. Now this is the first book in the Mistborn trilogy. I got this book on the recommendation of Reagan from Peruse Project, and it just sounded as though it was something that I would absolutely love. When I was in foils, I didn't particularly want to buy any books, but I saw this one on the shelf and I was like, oh, should I get it? Oh, maybe not. I'll just walk around. And as I was looking at other books, I just could not stop thinking about this one, so I knew that I had to pick it up. It is a high fantasy novel, and I needed something other than the Song of Ice and Fire series to actually satiate my high fantasy needs, so I decided to pick this one up and see if it's a new series that I'm absolutely gonna adore with a high fantasy theme, so let's hope that it is. And from what Reagan said, it is absolutely amazing, so I'm trusting you on this one. Let me know if you've read any of the books that I have hauled today, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. Bye!